Welcome, my homies, to the Please Do Tell podcast, where age is just a number and stories know no bounds. I'm Ronnika, your millennial storyteller, here to bridge the generation gap, one captivating narrative at a time. In each episode, we embark on a journey together, exploring shared experiences, heartfelt connections, and the timeless art of storytelling. From the wisdom of baby boomers to the perspectives of Gen Z, there's a tale for everyone in our diverse tapestry of human experiences. So grab your favorite beverage, settle into your comfiest chair, and prepare to be swept away by tales that resonate across generations. Get ready for insights, laughter, and moments that remind us of our shared humanity. Thank you for joining me on the adventure. Now, without further ado, let the story begin. Hey, my homies, and welcome back for another episode of Storytelling. I am your homegirl, Ronnika. Please do tell. We are in the month of June. And if you were watching the last episode, it is Black Music Month. And today, let's talk about Soul Train. So, the stories that I'm going to talk to you about today are just all around a Saturday morning in my house, okay? And I wrote this one down. Well, not even a Saturday morning, just what it's like to be in my household with different generations and everybody that loves music, okay? So, Saturday mornings were not just about cartoons in my house because, being the youngest, I believe that cartoons should have reigned supreme, right? We had to be up and dressed by the time Soul Train was going off, gathering around the floor model TV. Yes, floor model TV to watch Don Cornelius introduce us to our favorite artists and trying to unscramble the show Soul Train board, right? That was really a thing. The best and brightest dancers would entertain us with the latest hits, and our favorite artists would grace the Soul Train stage to jumpstart our weekend. WGN, I believe that was the station. I believe the channel was 9. I feel like it was channel 9. I believe it was channel 9. It was truly a family event while eating a home cooked breakfast complete with my mom's pancakes. Like to this day, we still request my mom to make us pancakes when we're all together. We would be on the couch. My brother would be in the chair. My dad would be seated at the end of the dining room table next to the landline phone, grazing over his food because I don't think I've ever seen my dad eat a full plate of food in one sitting. He's always been a grazer. It's probably why he was just always so thin. But those moments, like there's a clip that I put on my Instagram stories. I believe it was yesterday, and it was the Soul Train line. Because even if you think about it, even to this day, we still do this at different events. It's the Soul Train line, whether it's at a wedding, definitely at a wedding, because I definitely see walk down the Soul Train line for Chantel's wedding back in 2019. There's a video of that somewhere too. I believe I talked about it during Still Thankful. But yeah, I love a good Soul Train line. But there is a woman that was dancing down the Soul Train line, and she was doing like a 2-step. It wasn't even 2 step. It was like a hop, jump, probably more energy than the Running Man. And someone made a comment of, now this is real cardio. This is why everyone was small back then, because they were like dancing. Like their dancing was a full on workout. If you think about those Soul Train dancers, and they weren't just doing this on Saturdays, like they had to prepare for the Saturday. So these were real dancers. I believe there's even a documentary about Soul Train and their dancers. It was a thing. It was a time. And I couldn't help but think about that even when a Soul Train line has concluded, how out of breath everyone is, even to this day, because it takes a lot of energy out of you. My friends and I, we were laughing not too long ago about I think it was like our last year in college, or maybe we were juniors in college. We were all in Detroit for New Year's Eve, and we went to a cabaret. And if you're not familiar with a Detroit cabaret, um, it's where, well, for us, our first experience, I think my first and only experience, where we were the youngest ones there. They actually didn't want to let us in at first because we were so young. And that's usually where a lot of couples, because it was really driven towards couples were there swing dancing, or yeah, they call it swing because they stepping is in Chicago, swing, I believe swinging is in Detroit. So the guy at the door was like, "Oh, how old are y'all?" And we were like, "Oh, we're all over 21," which we had the ID, which we were all over the age of 21. He said, "Oh, okay, well you all won't cause us any problems, right?" "Nope, we won't have any problems at all, sir. We're just coming in to just celebrate bringing the new year." We go in there. We did notice that we were the youngest ones. I wouldn't say everybody in that room was over. Mind you, we were 21, 22. So everyone in that room had to be over the age of 40, 45. So really like almost our parents' ages. We get in there when the music is all like Motown because we're in Detroit. It was Motown. It was songs from the 70s and 80s. You heard Brick House. You heard some of everything up in there. You heard Bootsy. You heard George Clinton. It was everything going on in there. And we just blended right on in. We were like, okay, this is our crowd. Yay. We're going to learn a couple of dances and everything. Next thing we know, it was time for the Soul Train line. And we made it our business to make sure that we didn't get in the same line with our friend, like because we pretty much went in pairs. So I believe it was 6 or 8 of us. We made sure that we were in the same line. So we would be matched with someone that was from the cabaret that, basically matched with a stranger. I go up there and it's my turn, which it's a classmate of mine, and he's paired with another woman, and they're going down the line. And then next thing I know is, well, actually I grew up with him, but I don't want to say his name because of what happened, the events of the night. But he was going down with another woman who had on a dress, and by this time everybody is like feeling good. They've either had wine or champagne or mixed drinks because everything was flowing in there that night at that cabaret. The friend that was with us begins doing the snake on the ground during the Soul Train line with this woman that has on like a short dress, and she's like dancing. Mind you, he's with his girlfriend. His girlfriend is like right behind me in line. So he's not going down the Soul Train line with his girlfriend. He's going down the Soul Train line with a woman that could possibly be like the same age as his mother. But he's just feeling himself. He didn't really got loose. He's, like I said, he's on the ground doing the snake. The woman is dancing up behind him, and I said, "Oh, okay, we're really gonna go there tonight. We're really gonna go there." Next thing I know is that everyone forgets that we're in a party because his girlfriend at the time hauls off and like starts fighting him because she's upset that he's dancing with this woman like this, right? Now, mind you, to remind you, at the very beginning of the night, the guy at the door said, "We're not going to have any problems out of you. We're going to have a good night," right? Yes, we're going to have a good night. We were going to have a good night. We don't know what happened with them. Just, we were supposed to think that music and dancing was going to all bring us together. But that is like one time that the Soul Train line just totally went left. And when I say went left, it went left on a Saturday night. It shouldn't have went like that. But so they were put out of the party, and we stayed. The rest of my friends and I, we stayed. We got to talking with people. I learned a couple of steps that night, and we were just so apologetic of what had just transpired. First of all, I was also mad because I had missed my turn on the Soul Train line because all that commotion had made me miss my moment to shine down the Soul Train line, okay? No one was able to watch me do a 2-step or 2 or 3. So I was a little upset about that. So, I was staying to make sure that if they did another Soul Train line, I was going to be a part of it. So the friends got kicked out. One of my friends had actually went with them to kind of calm them down. The events of the rest of that night, I'll have to have the rest of them here to tell that story because we bring it up from time to time. And I remember being in that cabaret that night, talking to people, talking to strangers that I would say felt like family because we were actually talking about music, bonding over music. They were asking us questions like, oh, you don't know anything about this music that's being played here. And next thing you know, I started singing along. So that's when I started reflecting on those memories of growing up in that household and listening and watching the Soul Train dancers, and even thinking about the different artists that have stretched along multiple generations. That's also one of the things that the music sermons challenge for the month of June. One of the questions that was one of the prompts from yesterday or one of the previous days was name an artist or a group that has spanned across multiple generations. And my first thought, I didn't put up there, but I was like, oh no, maybe everybody will have this one. And I don't know why I put the one that I initially put up there. I put up Michael Jackson's "Remember the Time" because I thought about, even to this day, I think about little kids who still, if there's an event or Halloween or even weddings, Michael Jackson's still in the room and the kids can identify and know the culture and the music of Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5. But I got chastised yesterday because I was talking to a friend and he said, I can't believe you put Michael Jackson up there as someone that stretches across all generations. And I said, well, I didn't put my initial thought up there because I said I didn't know if it would be controversial or not. And he said, but it's the truth. It's we're talking about music. Like, we can't really think about people's personal lives, but we were thinking about music. I was like, no, it's not really that bad. I mean, he just did a little Fed time, but I mean, that's in the past. And then I thought about how this group would even, like, I remember them performing on Soul Train, like being able to watch them perform some of their hits on Soul Train, and that would be the Isley Brothers. And I would say one of the most beautiful things that even brought us together during COVID was the verses that Timbaland and Swiss Beats came up with, that you were able to experience a battle between artists on Instagram about their music catalogs. It was either the songs that they've sang or songs that they've written. And one of the battles was Ron Isley against, oh my gosh, I can't remember who Ron Isley went against, but just to think that the Isley brothers have, as my friend said, he has touched probably every generation in my home, which is so true, and he's still relevant to this day. And I can't help but think that Soul Train and so many other shows that are no longer around help that. Soul Train was a time, and just, I really don't think that Don Cornelius received his flowers, or enough flowers, because just even towards the end of his life with mental, just, battling with mental illness and everything like that. But what a treasure, or what a gift that Soul Train was to a lot of us. And then I got to thinking about the shows that we grew up on and what really influenced my childhood, such as BET and MTV was a whole time. And I can think about Video Soul and Video Soul was, it was probably some of the best interviews of artists that I've ever been able to witness, both live and even if you're able to go back and find like old episodes of them with Donnie Simpson and just think about the top 20 countdown. Cause we were always like, listen, even if we didn't like the song, you wanted to see, I feel like that was probably the very beginning of me archiving music. Is I would sit down and I would write the top 20 countdown every week, every Friday. That was my thing. So you had the top 20 countdown on a Friday night, and then you had Soul Train on a Saturday morning. Listen, I was always in music heaven. But then I think about other shows that also influence culture, and I think like, man, it's the generation now have no idea what it was like back then. Like it was like I would hear my parents say this all the time, or even my siblings like, "Oh yeah, back then." I mean, it was no. Listen, the '90s was a time for music because you had the music videos, the budgets, all of that. Just like I told you that I can remember the time video premiering. It was a big to do. You had Eddie Murphy, you had Iman, you had Magic Johnson. It was so many people with the Egyptian theme. It was magical. I feel like even at that time, it was like one of the most expensive music videos of its time. Just I can even premiere, world premiere. We sat around that as if we were at the movies, and wow, just to witness that. Like I could say like, oh yeah, I remember where I was when the Remember the Time came out. You have the Rap City, you have 106 in Park with Free and AJ, and like the original 106 in Park, like before Bow Wow, y'all. And Cedar's World, Planet Groove. Then you had on Sundays, you had Bobby Jones Gospel. But for me, because if you've been a homie for a while, and even past episodes when I talked about being runaway love, I've always loved love. So on those Friday and Saturday nights when I was able to stay up until midnight, BT had a show called Midnight Love, and it was all about R&B love song, all the videos. And I can remember staying up trying to catch either current R&B videos, and sometimes they would throw some old ones in there. I want to say that was also the time when I fell in love with like one of my favorite songs of all time. Like whenever it comes on, I lose my mind. Like I can think about the first time I had even like butterflies for a guy is Lady by D'Angelo. Like that whole Brown Sugar album. I remember my sister had the album first. And when she when she watches the episode, she's going to know what I used to do. Because she used to ask me if I used to mess with her CDs and her CD player. I used to just deny it. I'm too old to be lying, but I used to just deny it. But I would go in her room and get that Brown Sugar album and go straight to the Lady track. There was a couple songs on there that, I think it was one song on there where he just cussed like the whole time. And I thought like Nobody's Home, this would probably be the one and only time. I don't know if I don't know if you've seen this TikTok trend where people are letting their kids go in the bathroom and it's like, say whatever cuss word you want to say, get it out your system, and then come back out. That's how I was with that D'Angelo album, but I would only play it sometime. But Lady, I would play that at ignorant levels while no one was home. So when the video would come on at night, I would almost imagine myself as if I was an extra in that video. And even to this day, when I hear it, I can vividly remember how the video was set up and how it continues to make me feel. And then I don't know if we really need to talk about the whole BET Uncut, because that used to make me feel uncomfortable from time to time, because used to be like, who's filming these videos? Who's writing these songs and why? Now I understand why they were coming on at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. Ugh, what a time. Like, just listen, music, you could just even see it in my face. Music brings me so much joy. Even, I want to say it was like on Monday, the Heartbeats group chat, one of my friends had put in there a video, and Chantel had said, "Oh my gosh, this reminds me of when Ronnika would make us CDs, and she would always throw a gospel song at the end." I did. I said, "You can be a heathen through 16 tracks, but that 17th track was going to be a gospel song." And that was like, I didn't even think about I was doing that, but I would, if it was like a new gospel song or just a gospel song that I just really felt like was resonating with me while I was making the CD, I would throw it on the end of a track. So my friends would know that, listen, if you want to listen to all these songs, and it would be for people that were buying CDs for me too. I would put all these songs on there, and then at the end it was like, boom, you're gonna know Jesus. It's just what I do. Listen, that's just with some people like, oh, you know what, you cut up all week, but on Sunday, you're gonna get you some Jesus in you, okay? But just think, if you're playing that CD throughout the whole week, you're getting you some Jesus every day. So that was like a little method to my madness. I feel sometimes that I'm just gonna insert a little Jesus in there. But there is a challenge that was on Instagram, I feel, a couple of, I know it wasn't this year, but, and Demita, just look away, because she told me to get rid of these CDs a long time ago. But just feel like when I do get my old school, it's probably going to have a CD player in there. It probably won't. But I need to have the originals, because I probably won't be able to hook up my phone to it, because it won't have a Bluetooth in my old school, because my old school, which I'm saying I probably want a 67 or 68 or 69, like Mustang or Chevelle or something like that, right? So I'm pulling out my CDs, and the challenge was, which was extremely hard, was to pick some of your top 10 albums of all time, like something that you can just play nonstop. Let me quickly go through the CDs that are in the original CDs that I would say that I purchased. There's a couple that are probably not in here because probably someone took them, or I just scratched them up really bad and I just never replaced them. So number one would definitely have to be Tweet's Southern Hummingbird. To this day, I can play this CD. I almost said cover to cover. almost aged myself right there. But I can play. I'm not skipping a track. I'm not. I can remember when it came out, how it made me feel. I was a senior in high school. I was, at that time, I feel like I was getting over a heartbreak. I guess. I don't know. I was dating, and this was like right before prom too. But I had a boyfriend that I really, really loved, and it just didn't work out. So I listened to Southern Hummingbird. So even to this day, I go back to it. So another one that makes me feel good is Music Soul Child's I Just Want to Sing. Really, anything that Music Soul Child puts out, I'm buying it. And I have yet to see him in concert. It's going to happen. I feel like it's going to happen this year. Tweet too. Tweet's going to be in Dallas next month. If someone's feeling generous, just make sure I get there. But there is another CD that I wore out, which was, it should really be on everyone's top 10 list because he really outdid himself with this one. It's Usher's Confessions. Like, I understand why he had a whole residency in Vegas, because, baby, he could have just did a concert just of all confession songs. I'll Be Your Groupie, Baby, because I'm your superstar. I'll Be Your Superstar. Like, come on. But the first CD that I ever purchased to play in my car when I was 16, because I told you I love R&B music, is Joe's My Name is Joe. My name is Joe 5, 563. And for people that didn't know even back then, like, well, why was he saying 563? Just think about on your keypad or on your phone, Joe spells out 563 spells out Joe. See, artists were geniuses back then. Just geniuses. Like, what? My name is Joe 563. What? A time. So even with this being Black Music Month, I want you to think about for yourself on any genre is to think about your top 10 albums of all time. It's really hard. Listen, someone that loves music, it's really hard to narrow it down to just 10. I have so many stories when it comes to music because, again, music makes me feel really good. From the, because like I said, music has always been around my life, from the basement, my parents' basement, to my granddad's garage. He would play those blues and everything. You would just hear it from down the street. He loved his blues and his records, and he would, on a Sunday afternoon, he would go out in that garage, raise the garage door up, and he would just be out there listening to his blues records. And I used to think, man, that is the coolest thing. I can't wait until I get old, so I can be out in my garage by this time, probably listening to CDs, because I didn't think that we were going to be in an age where streaming would be a thing. Okay, I mean, you would think so, going from my cassettes to CDs to now streaming. It's or to my aunt who my aunt Barbara, even to this day, we would go to, well, she still travels to this day, but our thing, because she was very close friends with another heartbeat, Demita, with her mom, I remember us going over to Chicago on a Saturday morning, afternoon, and going to this huge record store, like it almost feel like a flea market. And that was the time when you can get cassette tapes, like just the singles on cassette tapes. And some of those singles would the remixes wouldn't even make it to the album. They would only be on that cassette tape. So I just felt like I was really elite if I had a cassette tape. And I'm like, you ain't heard this version of it yet. I got it on the cassette tape. But even to this day, like me and Aunt Barbara, we still bond over music because, man, just music just makes you feel good. So again, the month of June just brings me so much joy because I think about barbecues, I think about basements, I think about garages, and I think about music because, listen, they're a part of all three of those that I just mentioned. Yeah. I am going to end with one of my oldest friends, Jeffrey. That's the friend that I feel like we've been friends the longest. I've been friends with him since preschool. And we had Secret Santa one year. This is when we were working together. He was actually my boss when I first moved back to the area. We had Secret Santa, and I had just started working. Money was a little funny, but I don't think you could go over a gift of $25, I believe. And I'm looking around the room. Everybody has exchanged their gifts. I'm thinking like, who's my Secret Santa? Jeffrey walks up to me and gives me this gift, and I'm opening up. I'm like, what the heck could this be? Knowing that my favorite color is red, has always been red. I open it up and there's a red portable Bluetooth speaker. And he said, now you can link it to your phone and take it wherever you go, because I know someone that loves music just as much as me. And what did I do before I got here? charge that same Bluetooth speaker. So that Bluetooth speaker has been hanging on for at least, it'll be 8 years this Christmas. And that's probably still to this day one of the best Christmas gifts I could ever gotten. So, you all, and that brings me to the end of another episode of Please Do Tell. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through the power of storytelling. If you enjoyed today's episode, listen, don't forget to subscribe. And then once you subscribe, leave a review. And of course, share with a friend. Your feedback means the world to me. And it helps others discover the magic of Please Do Tell. And remember, if you have a story you'd like to share or any thoughts you'd like to express, I'm always here to listen. Feel free to reach out through our social media channels. It's Please Do Tell Podcast on both IG and Facebook. Or you can reach out to me directly, Ronnika.Williams on IG. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep exploring, and keep sharing your stories with the world. I'm your homegirl, Ronnika, and this is Please Do Tell.